Hi everybody, so it's the end of the 6th break-in period and this corset is really comfortable. I would estimate that I'm about 14 or 15 hours in to seasoning this corset because I wear the corset 2 to 3 hours each time I break it in, and so 2.5 times 6 is 15. So I'm feeling super comfy, you guys. The corset is able to hook underneath my ribcage a little bit better today, and so I am just relaxing. I'm totally relaxing into it, and it feels almost like I'm sitting on a shelf. My body is not fighting it, and the corset is just gently wrapping around the entire circumference of my torso without any pressure spots or hot spots anywhere. Another thing that I notice when I am breaking in my corset, when the corset starts to know me, then I'm not fiddling with it so much because the busk is actually starting to just slide into place really easily. I'm able to clasp it up a lot faster and easier than I was on the first day. Also, the lacing system in the back, I am able to lace it up a lot faster, and the laces themselves, they just glide through the grommets so much more easily than on the first day. On the first day, I had to grab every single X from the top down, from the bottom up. It's good form to do that anyways, but today I noticed that I almost only needed to pull the lacing loops at the waist, the bunny ears, and I only had to just basically minorly adjust the very top and the very bottom of the corset. And I'm sure a decent part of this is also me just getting used to this particular corset, learning to clasp this one up, learning to tie it up, because each lacing system I find is just a tiny bit different in each corset. But I also do believe that the corset itself, once it becomes seasoned, the bust just clasps easier and the lacing system in the back just glides easier. I'm really fighting the urge to not lace this up tighter than it is right now because remember on the first day of my seasoning I said that even though it was very loose on me at the time, it felt deceptively tight because the fabric itself was very stiff and it just wasn't wrapping around my body properly. Today, because the fabric is softer and it's wrapping around my body so easily, then I have to stop myself from going tighter to get that same level of restriction that I felt on the first day. It is going to feel easier and easier over time. Of course, your body's also getting used to the restriction if this is your first corset, so you might feel that you're able to cinch down more. I know for a fact that I'm able to cinch down more, and actually if I were priming my body by wearing an already seasoned corset before I put this one on, then I would notice that my waist is considerably squishier than if I, say, didn't wear a corset for a day or two and then put a corset on. It would feel a little bit more restrictive because my muscles hadn't been warmed up and stretched at the oblique level, and my intestines hadn't been able to flatten itself and shift slightly downward to accept the restriction. So please just be patient when you're seasoning your corset. Now, one person did notice yesterday that when I was doing my little rotation, the gap in the back is about 1/2 inch to 1 inch smaller than it was on my first day. And that is not because I'm cinching down smaller than 2 inches. That's actually because on the first day I was had some water retention. I was bloated because it was my lady week. Now that's over, and so my natural waist has actually gone down about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch than I was that day. So I'm still only trying to reduce a maximum of 2 inches a day, but the gap is smaller in the back. The overall measurement of the corset is smaller just because my waist is smaller, but the comparative amount of reduction is still the same. After the seasoning period of wearing it at a 2-inch reduction, I'm going to increase the hours and also start to close the back so that by the time I review it, hopefully I will be able to close it completely in the back so that the ribs and the hips fit as they're made to be. Hi everyone. So I just noticed something here. My house is very dusty today and I was coughing, and the spasms actually broke one of the seams right on the side there. I believe that is the curviest seam. The angle that is sewn there is fairly dramatic. Now it's only on that one part right there. You can see the broken threads there. And if you look at the same thing on the other side, you just see the stress marks from the threads, but not the actual, you know, not the actual broken threads. So that is what a broken seam looks like right there. Now I can mend that by hand. I can do a very, very tight whip stitch around there, so I need to get some matching thread and do that. But that sort of thing is not normal. So I am embarrassed and disappointed and I don't know if this is user error or if it is actually an issue with the corset itself. But yeah, it's amazing how this kind of stuff happens when you're trying to do a log of what is supposed to be the right thing to do and what you're supposed to expect and not expect. And I'm going to be totally transparent about this, that, you know, obviously I did not expect this sort of thing to happen, and I didn't want this sort of thing to happen. This is the first time in probably about 3 years that I have ever experienced a seam ripping on me from a corset. And so I'm not going to wear this corset anymore until I fix the seam. I don't want to run the risk of the seam, you know, totally breaking open, totally ripping open. I don't want it to, you know, just make it worse every time I wear it. Now, there's no guarantee that it would, but now that area is weakened, I don't want to make it worse. You know, I want to fix it. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to do that. So I'm going to put this little Breaking in My Corset mini-series on hold until I'm able to do that, until I have the time to actually sit down and mend this. But yeah, I'm not going to make a huge amount of drama about this, because before today the corset was working really well. It was breaking in really nicely. It was forming a beautiful silhouette, and I know how to fix this, so it's not a huge deal for me. But I just feel really bad for the maker, and I'm looking back and trying to think if there was anything wrong that I had done, or anything that I had explained incorrectly, because well, it's sort of like Murphy's Law. I mean, what are the odds that this sort of shit is going to happen when I am trying to make a how-to series on how to do something properly that is both safe for yourself and the corset, and then it ends up not even working for me the one time that I try to document it. So it is embarrassing, but I promise to be really transparent and to tell the truth. So this is where things are at. So leave a comment down below and let me know if you would even like me to continue this mini-series at a later date, or if you just want to leave things as they are. And I don't know if I'm going to be reviewing this corset in May, because I don't want to inadvertently damage anybody's reputation in case that it was something that maybe I had done. So yeah, let's leave it at that. So I will see you guys for the next video, whenever that may be. Bye.
What? What is it?